জয় রাধা মাধবা কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধবা কুঞ্জ বিহারী গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজনরঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজনরঞ্জন যমুনা তীরা বনচারী যমুনা তীরা বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধবা কুঞ্জ বিহারী জয় রাধা মাধবা কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে হরে Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nittai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य। जय ओं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतु श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जाय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। नामाचार्य शिल हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जाय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जाय। श्री मथुरा धाम की जाय। श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जाय। श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जाय। गंगा माई की जाय। जमुना माई की जाय। भक्ति देवी की जाय। तुलसी महारानी की जाय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जाय। गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gaurango. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraya. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata sevaya. Bhagavati uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 16. Praise of King Prithu by the professional reciters. Text 16. dṛḍha-vrataḥ satya-sandho brahmaṇyo vṛddha-sevakaḥ śaraṇyaḥ sarva-bhūtānāṁ mānado dīna-vatsalaḥ. 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 Mataji's, dṛḍha-vrataḥ, firmly determined, satya-sandho, always situated in truth, brahmaṇyo, a lover of the brahminical culture, vṛddha-sevakaḥ, a servitor of the old men, śaraṇyaḥ, to be taken shelter of, sarva-bhūtānāṁ, of all living entities, māna-daḥ, one who gives respect to all, dīna-vatsalaḥ, very kind to the poor and helpless. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be manifest. He will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Please repeat after me. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word vṛddha-sevakaḥ is very significant. Vṛddha means old men. There are two kinds of old men. One is old by age and another is old by knowledge. The Sanskrit word indicates that one can be older by the advancement of knowledge. King Prithu was very respectful to the Brahmanas and he protected them. He also protected persons advanced in age. Whatever the king would decide to do, no one would be able to stop. That is called dṛḍha-sankalpa or dṛḍha-vrataḥ. dṛḍha-vrataḥ, satya-sandho, brahmaṇyo vṛddha-sevakaḥ, śaraṇyaḥ sarva-bhūtānāṁ, mānado dīna-vatsalaḥ. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the brahminical culture and will render all service to all men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. So, the professional reciters who are generally describe the glory of a personality. They are known as sutas or stabaka, and they are glorifying Prithu Maharaj here. That Prithu Maharaj will become a king. He was not a king as yet, but they could actually foresee what Prithu Maharaj will do. And they are describing what kind of a king Prithu Maharaj would be. And here they are describing, actually next few verses are describing the glories of Prithu Maharaj as an ideal king. He should be dṛḍha-vrataḥ. He should be firmly determined. He should be, what a determined means, whatever he decides to do, he does that. dṛḍha-vrataḥ. And satya-sandho. He should be situated in truth. So these are the basic qualities of a leader. And then brahmaṇyo, he should be protector and supporter of brahminical culture. Brahminical culture means Vedic culture. What has been described in the Vedas, one sticks to that. Like the basic concept of the Brahminical culture is Krishna consciousness. The purpose of the Vedas is to reveal the identity of Krishna. Like Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and our business is to surrender to Krishna. That is the purpose of the Vedas. That's the main teachings of the Vedas. Although Vedas are dealing with different branches of knowledge, but the principal purpose, the basic purpose of the Vedas is Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedya, as Krishna mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. In all the Vedas, I alone am to be known. So the purpose of the Vedas is to reveal the identity of Krishna and the way to approach Krishna. And from the other angle, the Brahminical culture is varnashram. The society has been divided into 4 classes, and of these 4 classes, of these 4 varnas, 4 divisions, Brahmanas are the leaders. Kshatriyas are the executors. Vaishyas are the providers. And Sudras are the workers. And any human society has these 4 classes. And the human life is divided into 4 sections, 4 stages. Brahmachari phase, Grihastha, Banaprastha and Sannyas. That is the civilized human society. And the Vedas are proposing that. And here it has been emphatically, we have to remember emphatically that this varnashram system is not based on birth. Birth may help, but the birth is not the main criteria. It is guna and karma. That is the basis of varnashram. Guna and karma. Chatur varnang maya srishta guna karma vibhagasa. The four varnas has been organized or created by me, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Maya shrishtam, created by me, Chatur Varnam, the four classes of men. Krishna never said that it is janma karma vibhagasa. But it helps. Certain birth in certain family helps to develop that culture or quality. Like, say, for example, a Brahmana's son, from his childhood he would see that his father is studying the Vedic scriptures, and from that he will be influenced by the father. Whereas a Kshatriya child will see that his father is using weapons and fighting, so he also developed that culture. A Vaishya sees that the father is always considering how to make money. So from his childhood, he gets the inclination to make money. And Shudra, he learns different types of work. Like a potter's son, as a child, he helps his father. He helps his father. He sees his father is making pots. And the father also tells him, "Oh, can you help me in making the clay?" Then he learns how to make clay. Then how to put it in that wheel and how to make a pot. Similarly, a carpenter's son from his childhood learns how to do the carpentry. So this is how the birth in certain families help. But unfortunately in this age, everyone became Sudras. Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki Jai. Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha Dev ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Nowadays, one does not take his family business. Everyone goes to school. This system has been introduced by the Britishers. When they came to India, then they sent the Christian missionaries. And those Christian missionaries set up schools and colleges. And when they studied in those schools and colleges, they came out and got some occupation. They got good jobs and got recognition. So that is how everyone was made to think that is the way to go. Actually, they did it very systematically. I don't know whether they did it consciously or it happened just like Kali's arrangement. Like, who would go to schools like that? Children from high class families. And they got English education. And after they came out from the school, they got government jobs. School and college, when they completed their studies, they got good government jobs. Very respectable person. Or they became lawyers or teachers. And this way, these people were presented as the successful individuals. It actually started in Bengal, in Calcutta. Calcutta was the seat of the British culture. The British first they went to Bengal. And they made their setup in Calcutta. Their capital initially was in Calcutta. And they set up this kind of schools, and people from high-class families send their children for education there. And then that became the standard. But actually, what is this education? We see primarily, this education is simply to get a job. Now consider, in the Vedic culture, the Brahmana will not take up a job. Brahmana will never work for somebody for salary, because his occupation was to guide. They can take donations, they can take money as a token of appreciation, or pranami, like respectfully offered. Pranam, they would do the pranam, they would offer obeisances to the brahmanas, and they would give some donation. And that is how the brahmanas would sustain themselves. A kshatriya would never take up a job. Sometimes there is a misunderstanding that the army people, military people are kshatriyas. No, a kshatriya will never work for money or fight for money. The people, those who fight for money, they are not kshatriyas, they are mercenaries. They are also another kind of shudra, fighting shudra. And Vaishyas will never take up a job. They'll run business and make their money from profit. Only the Sudras will take up a job from somebody. This is how we see that through this introduction of this education system, the whole Indian society has turned into a Sudra society. Everyone is running for a job. They're studying to get a piece of paper, and they will go with the piece of paper. As many of you are preparing yourself for that, think about it. And what is this piece of paper meant for? To get a job. Dignified Sudras. Dignified Sudras. Getting a nice job, lot of facilities there, but the basic consideration is that. So this is how the brahminical culture had been destroyed. Now an ideal king's business is to establish that brahminical culture. The brahmanas are the head. They are giving the guidance, spiritual guidance. Then kshatriyas, under the guidance of the brahmanas, they are protecting the society. So that is what is coming here, śaraṇyaḥ sarva-bhūtānāṁ. When somebody takes shelter, give him protection, śaraṇyaḥ. Sarva-bhūtānāṁ, of all living entities. Whoever takes shelter, he gives him protection. And he recognizes the qualities of people. That is called māna-daḥ. The kings those days used to recognize the talents of people, and they would patronize them. Like for example, here in Ujjain, there was an illustrious king, King Vikramaditya. And Vikramaditya had 9 gems, 9 jewels in his court. They are known as Navaratna. From each field, he selected the best, and he patronized them. As we all know, like a great poet in his assembly, in his court was Kalidas. Great astrologer was Varaha-mihir. Varaha-mihir was such a great astrologer that by astrological calculation he could tell what's going to happen. That is the business of an astrologer. The more expert one is, the more accurate is his reading. So, his name originally was Mihir. How did he get the title Varaha? He got the title Varaha because he was not Vikramaditya. Prior to that, he was in some other king's court. And he told the king that your son is going to die on such and such day, at such and such time. Gave him the exact time. So he predicted that it would happen. How? He said he'll be killed by a boar, a Varaha. Varaha means a boar. So the king said, oh, Varaha, he'll be killed by a boar. So I'll keep him in the palace. And this is how he'll avoid. So he said, okay, good, try it. Try it. But the astrological reading is saying that he would die at certain time. So all protection was taken, he was inside the palace. Now inside the palace, how will a boar come? So everyone was secured, nobody paid any heed. The boy was playing. And right at that time, the insignia was hanging on the wall, and the insignia just fell on that boy and he died. And in the insignia, the impression was that of Varahadev. Varahadev was their family's worshipable Lord. So this is how accurate was his prediction. So this is how in the Vedic society people used to have such talent. And this way there were 9 such jewels and kings used to recognize, and he would patronize them, give them all facilities. You won't have to do anything. You just cultivate your knowledge. Similarly, the king would give land to the brahmanas so that the brahmanas can live peacefully. So, and the king would give protection to the elderly people. Elderly people need protection, but Prabhupada pointed out that elderly can have 2 aspects, 2 considerations. Old in 2 ways, old in age and old with knowledge. So, old with knowledge is also a principal consideration. The people, those who are knowledgeable, they should be given shelter and protection because they are an asset to the society. Arjuna also made that same point, that if there is a battle and in that battle, if all these people, those who are protector of the society, if they die, then who will give protection to the society? So, to create a perfect society, all these considerations are very, very important. And in the light of that, when we see today's society, actually none of the leaders come to this, anywhere near this qualification. They are not dṛḍha-vrataḥ, they are not determined, they don't stick to their principle. They just waver. Wherever the possibility, wherever the benefit, they shift there. Today we are in supporter of Congress, and when the Congress is losing, BJP is becoming popular, side with BJP. Okay, then another Samajwadi party is becoming popular, leave BJP, go to Samajwadi. And these are the people who are becoming the leaders of the society. And as a result of that, the whole society is in total chaos. They're simply trying to become popular. Because vote, in order to get the vote, you have to be popular. Now just consider, if one is strict like that, people don't vote him in democratic society. If, for example, like in the Vedic culture, there is a very strict order. If somebody does something wrong, punishment. Crime and punishment. Every crime must meet with punishment. And this is how people will learn. For example, in Muslim culture, there is this consideration that if somebody steals, his right hand will be chopped off. And that principle, that kind of law is still there. And the result is nobody steals. In the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and also in Saudi Arabia, there's no stealing. Nobody will dare to steal. Even a small shoplifting can meet with that kind of crime. As a result of that, nobody steals. Once I was reading a journalist impression of Afghanistan, and not recent Afghanistan, long back. So he was one Afghan, educated Afghan was his friend, and he was showing him around. And he, in course of their discussion, he mentioned that this is the law there. If anybody steals, his hand would be chopped off. So the British journalist, the author, he reacted, "Oh, such a severe punishment. Just for stealing, his hand will get chopped off." And so his friend said, "You have been in Afghanistan for so long. Did you ever seen anybody without his right hand?" No. That is, when the law is so strict, nobody will break the law. Nobody would steal. Nobody would steal. But in democratic society, you make that law. In those countries, they can establish that kind of law because there is monarchy. There is king who establishes the law. But in democratic society, if a new party comes and makes a law like that, in the next election he'll never get a single vote. So in democratic society, it doesn't allow the leaders to become strict. So that's why democracy doesn't work. Democracy can be or may be better than the worst. It can may be better than the worst, but it's not the best arrangement. So, and that's why in this society we see the quality of the leaders degenerate. The quality of the leader degrade, become worse and worse and worse. Like we see even in India, at least during independence, the leaders were very principled, upright, honest, patriotic individuals. But now we are seeing They're selling the country off. Wherever they get the option to get vote, they support them. And as a result of that, the whole society is just becoming degraded. Now, like if we try to establish, if we go and tell the politicians now, so these are the qualifications of a leader, what will be their response? Ore Baba, nahi chalega. An Indian situation is so critical in that respect. Like yesterday I was talking to someone and he just told me that 70% of the MPs, 75% of the MPs in India have criminal records. 75% of the member of parliaments, those who are running the government, are criminals. And he was comparing that in countries like America, it will never happen. Countries like England, it will never happen. And he was pointing out that 2 ministers in UK had some criminal activities. They were removed from the ministry immediately. And they'll never come back. So at least those countries still have some principles, whereas India is completely sold out. Because it's a vast country with illiterate people, uneducated people. And these uneducated people, they don't know what to do. And they're being misled by these leaders. I remember a few years back, the Supreme Court actually made a policy that anyone with criminal record cannot stand for election. And it is the parliament that opposed to that. They didn't let that bill pass. So this is the situation. So ultimately what it means, this country is being run by a bunch of criminals. At least 75% of them. Some may be good, not that everyone is a criminal. Some may be good people, but this is a state of affairs. And good people try to come and do something, they can't do it because of that, like these people. Jai Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki jai, Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Jai Shri Shri Prahlad Nrsimha Dev ki jai. Actually, leadership is very, very important, ideal leaders. And the hope is the youth of India will wake up. In the past, majority of the Indians were illiterate. This was a country with about 85 to 90% illiteracy. And at that time they created democracy. So it's a farce. But now people are getting educated and probably they will bring about a change. The youth are the hope for the nation. Because they have the responsibility to create the right atmosphere. And anyway, our business, the Veda's business, is not to just create some nice political arrangement. The purpose of the Vedic culture is to create the spiritual arrangement, because that is the ultimate solution. Accepting the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Democracy can work, provided the leaders are Krishna conscious. If the Krishna conscious leaders guide, they may not come from a royal family, but if they are properly educated, if they are properly knowledgeable, then they would know what to do, how to lead the society. And that is how they can actually guide the society properly. So that is the main consideration, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means recognizing that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Proprietor and Supreme Controller. Like in the Vedic society, the king used to consider that his kingdom is not his kingdom. His kingdom is actually Krishna's property. And he is a representative of Krishna. With that understanding, he used to rule the kingdom. So that is the most important thing to understand, that nothing belongs to us. Nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna. Idam Krishnaya na mama. It's not mine, it's Krishna's. Everything, it belongs to Krishna. And when we develop that understanding, then the mentality automatically changes. The citizens in my kingdom are not my subjects, they're Krishna's children. And that's how I have to take care of them. I am Krishna's servant and they are Krishna's children. So I have to take care of them as my master's children. And that is how the kings used to rule their kingdoms in those days. And that is the essential qualification of a leader. A leader must recognize that he is a servant of Krishna. And everything belongs to Krishna. All the living entities, those who are subordinate to him, they are actually Krishna's children. And with that understanding, he should guide them, take care of them. And that is what is going to create the perfect society. As it has been pointed out here, the Prithu Maharaj as an ideal king. The professional reciters, bandis. The word bandi comes from bandana. Bandana means offering glorification. So they are glorifying Prithu Maharaj about what he would do in future. So this is another qualification of those people. From the astrological calculation, they could see what would be the qualification of that personality. So he is seeing Prithu Maharaj's qualification. He will be firmly determined. He will be always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the brahminical culture. He will be a servitor of the old people, and he will give protection to those who take shelter of him. And he is a protector of all living entities. He would offer respect to deserving individuals, and he will be very kind to poor and innocent. And mind you, these are just first 6 qualifications that he is mentioning about Prithu Maharaj. And it goes on. And these are the qualifications of a leader. So those who want to become leaders, they should sincerely cultivate those qualities. Similarly, we see Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he was assuming the kingdom, the royal throne, he listened to the superiors about his responsibilities and duties. And Bhishma Dev instructed him how he should rule the kingdom. A very, very wise personality is giving the instruction. And he took those instructions and he ruled the kingdom accordingly. So, in this way we can see that the Vedas are giving us the perfect guidance of creating the perfect society, giving the perfect instructions how to lead. And here one important consideration is that a leader first must be a follower. To be a teacher, first you have to become a good student. Unless and until one is a good student himself, he cannot become a good teacher. Similarly, unless one is a good follower at the beginning, he cannot become a good leader. And when such people assume the responsibility, then everyone benefits. And that is the responsibility that the human society, the leaders of the human society have. Not just assume the position and act whimsically. Oh, now I have become the leader. And now I have become the prime minister. Now I have become king. So let me just act the way I want. And it's interesting to note who was prior to Prithu Maharaj? King Vena, a tyrant. An absolutely irresponsible personality. And when the leaders of the society, the brahmanas, the sages came and gave him good advice, he refused to take the good advice. And when the brahmanas saw that he was incorrigible, he cannot be corrected with good advice, killed him just by chanting mantra. Just by chanting mantra, they killed him. So we can see that brahmanas were so powerful. And then from Vena's body, churning Vena's body, came Prithu Maharaj, an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here is an ideal personality to rectify the chaotic situation of the society. So, at least we do not know to what extent we will be able to establish the Vedic culture, but to whatever extent we can, we should try to do that. And the first point of application of this culture is to ourselves. Let us follow the culture with all sincerity. At least then one person is following that culture. And this is how this culture will spread. People will see, especially the intelligent class of people, will see the benefit of this culture. And they will automatically become attracted towards that. When they see that individuals are leading a perfect life, exemplary life, then they will naturally want to follow him. That's why the first application is ourselves. We have to first become the students. We have to accept it ourselves and apply it in our own lives. And then only we can guide properly. And then only our advice will carry the necessary weight. Sometimes we see some people speak a lot but doesn't create any effect. But some other person speaks a few words, creates a wave all around. Why? And there comes the potency of the character. It's the person's character that carries the weight to influence others. So, through these instructions from Srimad Bhagavatam, we are getting the perfect direction, and our business should be to just follow that. Mold our lives according to these instructions, especially the way Srila Prabhupada has presented it through his Bhakti Vedanta purports. The Vedas are there, the Puran, Srimad Bhagavatam is there, Bhagavad Gita is there, and Prabhupada is presenting it to us, how to understand them and how to accept them and how to apply them in our own lives. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. Does anybody have any question? Yes.
There are many soldiers they used to fight for the Kshatriyas.
There are many
soldiers. So were they not like Kshatriyas? Like you see in Mahabharata, like 64 crores soldiers are there.
Yeah,
so
they all were Kshatriyas. The fighters are all Kshatriyas. Not only that the king is Kshatriya, only Kshatriya. They all were, and none of them actually fought for money. The king would give their subordinates land. The soldiers, the general will have a large piece of land. Then his subordinates will have, land. And they would, the Kshatriyas, would rule over their land in the small way. Not like today's army. At the end of the month, they get a salary. That's not Kshatriya. That's, at the most, they're mercenaries. Any other questions? Yes, Maharaj. Give him the mic.
Guru Maharaj, we know these qualities we should acquire, but though we have desire, but we want to imbibe these qualities. But right, but we cannot. At least dṛḍha-vrataḥ, we took so many vows. How to increase these qualities?
At least it's better to take some vow and fail than not to take any vow at all. Failures are the pillars of success. Okay, due to our weakness, we may not be able to stick to that vow, but at least that we have done that effort will make us advance. And this is how we'll become stronger in our character. Initially we may fail, but that doesn't matter. Okay, keep trying. Yeah, एक मिनट. Okay, ask the question. अब इसके बाद आपको देंगे. Okay.
Hare Krishna. As per Karma's philosophy, the Satkarma, they should, in the future, they will benefit to the person. But nowadays, as I have heard from you, and I am also observing, the criminals, they are leading the country and the politics. Then why the person who is not performing the good karmas, the God is not punishing them?
God will punish them in due course of time.
Thank you, sir.
Sometimes the thief steals and he may not be caught and immediately punished, but in course of time he will be caught. And especially in God's law, you see, in material world we may escape, right, punishment. But in Krishna's arrangement there is no escape. Jamraj is there, the supreme justice.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Rahul Mehta, according to you, democratic system is worse than leadership system. Then what do you think about the rule of Aurangzeb? Yeah, You see, you got my point wrong. I didn't say that democratic system is worse than leadership system. No, what I meant is democratic system may be better than the worst, but it's not the best. Whose question is that? Okay. You got my point now. Democratic system is not the worst system, I'm saying, worse than leadership. Democratic system is better than the worst. And as you said, what about Aurangzeb? Aurangzeb's thing was worst, right? So democracy is better than Aurangzeb's ruling. That's what I meant. All right? And not only Aurangzeb, in India, like in France, it was Louis. And so then they revolted against him and they killed them. All the royal family people were killed. Anyone had any connection with the royal family, they killed him. And then came the democracy. Vox populi, the voice of the people. For the people, by the people, of the people, and so forth. Right? So, now the point is, the mass is ignorant. So how can the ignorant mass wisely select a leader? Like, for example, in a primary school or in any school, will the students have the right to elect their teacher? And if they do, then what will be the condition of that school? Right? So, ignorant mass need to be guided with wise leadership. But that's not happening in today's world, and that's why the world is getting into such a chaotic condition. Okay? Yes? Where's the mic?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. First of all, thank you so much for such an encouraging class. Like here, first 6 qualities of Pratham Maharaj are mentioned actually. So the question is, do we all should make a separate endeavor to cultivate all these qualities? Or if we accept the process of Krishna consciousness in totality, then all these qualities are just natural outcome. It will manifest.
Very good. Very good point. Like if the system is there to collectively train people in that, that's the best. And ISKCON is trying to do that systematically. Guide people in the right direction with proper training. But at the same time, individually one also have to be motivated to cultivate those qualities. It has to be both. But if the individual endeavor is more important in that respect, because if that system is not there, then still we should try to achieve that. And if that system for collective training and collective motivation is there, then that's even better. Give it to him, and I'll take your question next.
Maharaj, in Vedic time, are Shudra's son allowed to go Gurukul?
In Vedic time, the Sudras?
Sons, are Shudra's son allowed to go Gurukul?
In qualification, qualification was the main consideration. Right? If generally a Sudra's son took to the Sudra occupation in the Vedic culture. It's a family business, that's how it used to go. A Brahmana's son used to pursue the brahminical qualification, brahminical activities. But in the Vedic culture there are also consideration that when somebody did not develop the qualification, in spite of being born in a certain family, then he would not be recognized of that caste, of that varna. For example, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravan, Kumbhakarna, they were born out of brahmanas. Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha were born of Kashyapa, one of the most exalted brahmanas. Ravan was the son of Vishrava Muni, a brahmana. But will anybody consider Ravan to be a brahmana? Ravan was the most expert in performing yajna. Still then he was a Rakshasa, because his nature was that of a Rakshasa. On the other hand, there is Satyakam. He was the son of a prostitute. But his guru accepted him. Yes, you're truthful, therefore you're a brahmana. Okay, I'll teach you. Give it to him.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Maharaj, you told that in ancient Vedic culture, qualities determined that whether a person is Kshatriya, Brahman, or whatever it is. But we see that in Mahabharata war, the Karna, he was having all the qualities of a Kshatriya, but then also he was prevented from having a duel with Arjun. Or not
Who
duel.
was that? Who?
Karna.
Yeah.
He was classified as Sutputra, and that's why he was not allowed to fight with Arjun, or he was not allowed to have a duel.
Yeah. Okay.
So why is it that he was not accepted as Kshatriya?
Yeah. You see, those days, the society was so pure. Society was so pure that the birth was a consideration. You see, if the mother is a Kshatriya and the father is Kshatriya, ideal Kshatriyas, then they would invite a soul of that nature. They'll develop that qualities. And you see, because of that strict, consideration of generally Brahmanas, in the Brahmana family, a brahminical child will be born. Right? Because when the society is pure, a Brahmana is pure, his wife is pure, then they will invite a brahminical soul as their child. Similarly, the Kshatriya is pure, father is pure and the mother is pure in their characteristics as a Kshatriya, they'll invite a Kshatriya soul. But in this age what happened is Varna Shankara. Right? Varna Shankara means that it's mixed up. You can't really make out by birth anymore. That's why Arjun expressed his concern that that Strishu Dustashu Bhashnya Jayote Varna Shankara. When there will be a mixture, like, there is no strict adherence to the, social culture, then there will be Varna Shankara, as it has happened today. So that's why in this age, the birth cannot be the consideration, because it's a society of Varna Shankara. And as I was saying, that somebody may be a Brahmana's son, but he is going to a school where the education is Sudra, to become a Sudra. Right? Somebody may be a Kshatriya's son, but he is going to a school where there is no Kshatriya training. He is learning to just become a clerk. Right? Or at the most, an engineer. So can you identify him as a Kshatriya because he is born in a so-called Kshatriya family? So that is the thing. The Varna Shankara is causing the problem. If the Varna Shankara is not there, if the society is pure, then yes, the birth is important. But at the same time, the birth is not the only consideration. As I was saying, even in that society, Vishrava's son, a Brahmana's son, Ravana, is a Rakshasa. Right? He is not recognized as a Brahmana. Okay, there are two other questions and I'll end after these two questions. Rashik Sindhu Das from Mauritius. Where is Rashik Sindhu Das? Oh, it was online, okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj, where do we put the barrier from being tolerant and standing for, what is that? Verification? Standing for? Oh, rectification. Okay, standing for rectification of mistake. Often we are asked not to see the bad but appreciate the good. But till where should we tolerate? Yeah, both has to be there. Tolerance is there, but not blindly. If somebody makes a mistake, you may tolerate that mistake, but it's a responsibility to correct the mistake as well. If the correction is not there, then it is not right. So, tolerance must be followed with the corrective measure. For example, a thief comes and steals, to steal, and he is caught. And oh, I'm tolerant. ठीक है, घर चले जाओ. No, he should be taught that shouldn't do that. It's not good. I'm not calling the police, but please don't do it in future. And make sure that he doesn't do such an act again. And if he's caught, that's what is happening in the legal system. They're put into prison to rectify. Somebody commits a crime, and after committing the crime, he is put into prison. What is the purpose of putting him into the prison? The purpose of putting him in the prison is to reform him. Therefore, another name of prison house is a reform house, a place for reformation, correction. This is from Ronit Anyan from internet also. Oh, okay, Ronit, your name. Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Should you stop going to school, college? In what way can we help in re-establishing the brahminical culture once again? You see, whatever the education system is, our business is to follow that. Because there is some benefit. We are learning something. If we don't go to the schools and colleges, then we will be deprived of the basic knowledge. And one of the important things about the education system is to discipline you. It teaches you how to be disciplined. It teaches you how to, systematically and logically and rationally think. Although in most cases what we learn in school, colleges don't really come to any use. For example, algebra. What is the first formula of algebra? A plus B whole square is equal to A square plus B square plus twice AB. Now when you do that, say when you consider 9 square, do you divide it into 4 plus 5 whole square plus twice 5 and 4? No. So we see that even the basic things don't come to any use. But at least it's sharpening our mind, sharpening our brain. And the way to do it is, through this education system, we have to bring about the change. Not drastically give it up. But say, for example, there's the importance of spiritual education. So in the schools and colleges, we introduce that spiritual education. And then through this system, we educate them with the Vedic culture. And then gradually the change will come. And eventually what we want to see is that varnashram is established, because that is the ultimate consideration. You see, there is no need to have a common kind of an education system. Initially there can be, but then it has to branch out. Brahmanically inclined children will have one kind of education. Kshatriya inclined, another kind of education. Vaishya, another kind of education. Shudra, another kind of education. Then ultimately it will branch off into 4 different classes of education system. What's the point for a Brahmana to learn how to fight? He's not going to fight ever in his life. Similarly, what's the use of a Kshatriya to learn how to run a business? Right? Because he's never going to run a business. He'll rule his kingdom. And so forth. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Is everyone nicely situated? How many of you came from Indore and Bhopal and outside? Okay, are you comfortably situated? Yeah? And prasad is, you got prasad after coming here? No? You came in the morning. You all, okay, how many of you didn't get the prasad? How many of you came this morning? Okay. So, okay, now go and take prasad. Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare. The question গুলো রেখে দাও। ও বলতে পারতে। ওকে। ঠিক।